In terms of civics, the early game ones I'm going towards state, workforce, and then obviously into political philosophy. There's a few different governments, we'll go through those as we go through them, but drama and poetry is another one I want to be looking at some point in order to get my theatre square. Recorded history is probably one of the most important civics, the second most important civic in the game after Enlightenment down here. Recorded history gives me natural philosophy, which gives me 100% campus district adjacency bonuses. That's important. That's really important. That means that I'm going to be getting a lot more science per turn much quicker. I think these are going to be my two new city spots. I want one down here, and I want one up here. Reason being, if I settle on top of the silk, I can work it without having to use it as a tile, which is a very good thing to be able to do. I have the geothermal fissure here, so by putting a campus on this tile where the sheep is, I can clear the sheep with a builder. It means with this adjacency I have a +3 campus, and again, with down here, if I put a bath connecting up to the mountain, put a campus here with an industrial zone, that would give me my +3 adjacency. I'm looking for campus districts where I can specifically get a +3 adjacency. It's difficult to do, especially if you don't have much in the way of mountains, and realistically I don't have much in the way of mountains here. In fact, actually, I want to be looking at going from the other direction as well. So look what I've done here. Again, putting a city here, putting an aqueduct in to connect it to the fresh water. My campus then has a 1, 2, 3, 4 adjacency. So I've got 4 city placements here. 4 city placements in which I could easily get myself to an adjacency bonus. Now, crowding cities in is not a problem, as long as you've got space around the edges. So now that I've got a city here, I'm not going to be settling up here. I'm going to give all of the outside of the space of the cities some space to grow. Having a central point in which all of your encampments and all your districts get put, it can be a very sensible thing to do at times. And actually, look, again, I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. If I put a city over in here, which means realistically I'm going to be putting a bath there. Suddenly, look at that. I'm going to have a bit of crowding, but I'm going to have 2 industrial zones with 2 double bath. Yeah, that's really good. And then I'm going to have the campus over here. So there's going to be a lot of shared room, but again, I can leave the space from the outside to give myself lots of food. Crowded cities are not a problem, but by doing that, look at this already, I've got a plan for 5 cities, and now that Magnus is involved, I can start to build those settlers. Rome as well is up against its housing limit here. Now, choosing a pantheon is a really important task. You always want a pantheon when you're playing a science victory. There are 1 or 2 very specific ones that I would always go for if you can, and there are a few that are very situational. If you were going for a Jesuit education science victory, where you're using faith to purchase in buildings in a campus and in a theatre square, you might want to look at things like Dance of the Aurora to get yourself faith from tundra, Desert Folklore to get faith from desert, and Sacred Path to get faith from rainforest tiles. All of those are quite good, but they're quite situational. River Goddess is also a fantastic one. Scotland is the best to play with River Goddess. +2 amenities and +2 housing to cities if they have a holy site next to a river. That's really good. For us, on a regular science game, Divine Spark is by far the best. Those extra prophet, scientist, and writer points mean that my points are going to be through the roof for the majority of the game. If Divine Spark is gone, the others are very situational. In my particular case, I'm going to be getting a lot of plantations, so I could in theory get +1 culture from plantations. I could in theory get religious settlements, which gives me a 3 settler, but I'm going down the Magnus route. Settlers are not going to be a problem. If I had a lot of volcanoes, I might go for geothermal fissures and volcanic soil. For me, it's quite simple. We're going to go for Divine Spark. It's also worth checking in here every now and then. It's turn 18. Nobody's built a campus yet. I'm doing alright. I'm keeping an eye on my gold. As soon as we get to 130, I'm going to build in that granary just to help me grow as quick as I can. But until then, I'm going to start pumping out some settlers. I've got lots of slingers to help me here. Should be fine. There you go, I do have the sea just above. Unfortunately just out of harbour range, but it's close enough to be an issue. Oh, goodness me. Barbarians at this early stage of the game, especially in flat land areas, you really do. I mean, they just spawn from absolutely everywhere. This scout, its sole aim here is just to help me fight the barbarian scourge in this area. This is absolutely mad. I'm kind of hoping I'm going to find a third city-state as well. That would help to boost my civic. And look, the Incas have already expanded quite a lot. Until you go to war with somebody, it is always worth being friends with them. If you can stay friendly with anybody, alliances later in the game on any science game are hugely important. Now this scout, you don't come into my empire here. Might need a couple more units actually, I'm just thinking about it. There's too much in the way of bad news in this direction at the moment, and yeah, look at this, these guys are tough. But it's always worth checking in to see what they want you to do. Wants to settle near mountains, like those who leave the areas near mountains to him. As long as I don't settle too much near mountains, I'll be okay. Doesn't stop me sending him a delegation in the meantime. So with state workforce, it's time to build a couple of buildings. Now, I was going to use my builder to eat up that amenity, but I'm actually going to bring it down here because I realistically now want to be getting this tile off, but I don't want. There's nothing worse than putting a district on a tile that could be harvested, so I'm going to go in and harvest that building. In the meantime, it's worth me getting a couple more slingers because barbarians are everywhere. I've also now got provision, so I can start to think about settling rather rapidly. Discussed as well, political philosophy is the next one, and then depending on how we're doing, I might get recorded, history, or drama and poetry. And onwards and upwards from there. Somehow I've actually managed to clear that barbarian outpost. Military tradition boost 40 gold. It's actually a very good thing to be able to do if you can, but my god, these barbarians are everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And look, they're just attacking from all angles. They would rather die fighting than give up the fact that they're not going to win this battle. It's very, commendable? I don't know if commendable is the right word. They're certainly quite aggressive. So it seems counterintuitive at the moment, but I am going to remove this improvement. I want to put, as I say, my government plaza on that tile. So this wheat is going to be harvested, especially now Magnus has been established within it. In the meantime, just a couple more slingers. There's no such thing. There's too many slingers. Okay, you see what I mean about scouts? They just can't compete. There's too much going on. Absolutely too much going on. I love the immediate road building. It is such a nice touch. Such a nice touch. Right, here we go. Harvest food. 31. Do that immediately. Give myself an extra population. Rome is now population 7 city. That is a good city, that. Oh my god, barbarians on all sides now. Literally all sides. And, just to make it even better, he's now sat on the exact tile that I was hoping to work. So, thanks for that. So I really wanted to build it here. Is it going to let me just build it? Oh, it is going to let me build it. Oh, even though somebody stood on it. I like that. I like that brazenness. Might be time to get a couple of archers, actually. We're fighting quite a lot of barbarians. They're proving to be a little bit tricky now. Yeah. Oh, stop just killing all of my units. What is the point? What is the point? Why does this make you happy? What is your need? Why do you have this craving just to destroy? Oh, the reinforcements are just, they're coming quicker than I can kill them. This is ridiculous. Right. Oh, with one turn off being able to flick into a barbarian killing mode. Here we go. Start attacking these guys. Keep upgrading. Keep retreating. Between us, we've got this. This guy looks pretty dead. That's not so good, but we just keep cycling our units out. If we can stop them from dying, we're onto something here. So with political philosophy, the decision we have to make is what government. Now, in a science playthrough, economic policy slots are your friends. Every single government with the most economic and wildcard slots are the best. Oligarchy is good if you want to be fighting things, and it's good against barbarians, admittedly. Autocracy lets you build stuff, but typically only in your capital. I like Classic Republic. The extra great person points mean that you get more scientists, the extra housing means your cities are bigger, and the extra amenities mean they give more stuff. So Classical Republic it is. I am going to be using in my wildcard slot policy. I'm not going to take Discipline. I'm going to see if I can go without it, but I will take Urban Planning. That +1 production in all cities is quite important. I'm going to take Charismatic Leader to try and get a few more envoys out whilst I'm going along, which leaves me 1 wildcard slot. Now again, Agogi, Discipline, these are all very good things, but I'm going to take Ilkham because realistically builders and settlers are the things that I need the most. So now that I've got the 2 policy slots on Magnus, I'm going to go straight for Pingala. Put that in my second city, get him going up, and eventually the population of this city is going to be enough that I start getting all the bonuses that a Pingala start would have given me. Recorded history is going to be the next jump. Oh look, another scout. Didn't have enough. Clearly. God, this game really does. It just beats you down sometimes, doesn't it? But you can see slingers are very effective as a fighting force. It's just you've got to have enough of the damn things to make sure you don't die. This is very much for strategy as well. If you're ever going to play deity mode, you need a lot of slingers because either the barbarians will get you or somebody that you just met 3 turns ago will turn up with 20 warriors. So it's important that Rome gets up the Ancestral Hall as quickly as possible to give myself a 3 builder in every city that I make, and also to improve my settlement ability. I want to get that in before I build the campus, but 8 turns is a long time. I'm going to make use of Magnus's ability. I'm going to go over to this flatland stone. No I'm not. I was going to rush it, I forgot. I haven't quite got masonry yet, fine. Okay, well, we'll check back. We're just going to use 2 of his charges just to get some citrus in, and I might put a mine down just to give myself a little bit of extra production, but the idea is very similar. A lot of people will make a lot about the fact that you either got to go for a dark era or a golden era. In the first, I've got a normal. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter so much. A lot of the Dark Age policies are quite situational at the beginning of the game, although building a holy site does get you lots of extra faith. Unless you're going for a holy victory, I don't think that it makes too much difference. Personally, I'm going to go for free inquiry just because I'm going to be building a lot of campuses. And the good thing about building lots of plantations as well is that not only do I get the extra housing and get the extra amenities, which is all very good, I also can be in a situation where I'm beginning to get a little bit of gold in, which is all good. Gold is never a thing to turn away. The other thing I should mention is as soon as you get diplomatic favour in, on a scientific victory, diplomatic favour to us is worth practically nothing. Sell it as quickly as you can. The computer will buy it really easily, and actually if you want to guarantee an ally from the beginning of the game, we sent them a delegation. I'm actually just going to say, well, we'll see, what would you give me for that? They'd give me 2 gold. I'm going to just take off the 7 gold. Don't give me that 7 gold, give me 2 gold per turn, that's 60 gold, which is good. And then hopefully, it'll be that we sent them a gift. If you send them a couple of political power every now and then, they'll consider it a gift, they'll be much more friendly with you. Oh god, more! Why are there more? Stop it! Oh, for God's sake, don't just... Retreat. Retreat. I think this may be a good time to upgrade a couple of slingers into archers. Right, let's try that again. 34 production from the plot. Oof, takes half the turn off that. Very nice. So already we've got a lot of great person generation. Some people are getting great profits, which is fine. And great scientists. 2 scientist points per turn. That means they just have the wild card slot that gets them the scientist. I'm not after the first great scientist. He's not very good. The second one gives you a 3 library and then a extra science per library. That is a good one. That's the one we want to take. Until then though, we're going to rush towards engineering to build some barbs, because barbs are good and they keep us happy. My goodness me, we are being assaulted on all sides, but with archers, yeah, these guys are substantially tougher, put it that way. It's tempting at this point to build a campus, but I have a campus coming up in my little second city. I would rather at this point spam in settlers, but what I'm going to do is a little bit of a cheaty move. So I'm just going to take 1 turn of campus growth, lock it in, and that'll lock in the amount of production. The longer you leave districts into the game, the more they cost. Governor title, I'm just going to promote to a researcher. Fantastic, that'll give me some extra science per turn. That'll mean that I'm going to get to baths much quicker. It's all coming together slowly. I mean, at the beginning, you always end up being in last, but we're already ahead of the Incans, so, you know, it's fine. Again, check in every time. Keep selling that political power every turn. Already, I'm starting to get 5 in per turn. It makes a huge, huge deal.